Hi, this is Frank Brassell again. This is the third in a series of intro to the FairTax videos. I'm just kind of making these as questions come up that I answer to people on Facebook and the discussions we have. Recently, well, today, I was on a thread where somebody said, well, if you make a sales tax that big, it's going to result in a huge black market. Well, that's not really true. I've explained in the other videos that because I own a business in California, I'm already a tax collector. I collect sales tax from you, the consumer, and at the end of the month or quarter, depending upon how much you collect, which I'm down to the month now, you send it in each month, and then they make sure that you're sending in the right amount, because they can come audit you and they will check the amount of goods you bought untaxed. In other words, what you're going to sell, your cost of goods, and then they will look at what your prices are, and then they will make an estimate. Is this tax that was paid reasonable? And they're good. They're good at it. One time I got audited, and the guy said, well, we have a red flag because what your cost of goods is, seems like you're not collecting enough taxes. And he said, can I see your menu? I said, sure. So I got him the menu. He looked over the menu and he goes, oh, your prices are low. Well, that explains it. I was thinking, wow, should I raise my prices? No, we live in a community where the income is not that much, so I'd rather keep my prices down. And even though we have tourists here, my bread and butter is the local people. The tourists are just gravy, and I'm not going to put tourist gouging prices on and chase all my friends and family, neighbors, whatever, away. Anyway, the point is there going to be a black market? Well, if your state has a sales tax, like California does, is there a big black market in that state to avoid the sales tax? Now, I'm guessing if your sales tax collectors are as good as the ones in California, there's not, because they're watching that sort of thing. And like I said, they do audits from time to time, and they match what you bought tax-free to what your receipts are, and then they can tell whether you're sending in the right amount of tax, whether you are charging tax. And it's kind of a big deal to them because the states fund their money like that. Well, these organizations that look over this, pretty professional and good at finding the cheaters. So, if you're going to cheat the fair tax, you're trying to cheat the same thing that these people look at every day. Because, as I said in the other video, the state sales tax agency will be the people administering the fair tax in your state. See, that's one great thing about the fair tax. The feds don't even need to come to your state, because state agencies, which are already in place and already do the job of policing the sales tax, will police the fair tax now. So there's not a whole lot more money spent on new IRS type people to come out and look for the sales tax. The state will take care of that. And then I send my collection into the state, and then the state sends that collection to the administering body in the federal government. And shoot, $14 billion we spend now on the IRS. Now, in California, we finance the state tax collectors, but we're already doing that. So that's a direct savings. $14 billion, boom, right off the top. That it sounds like small money in today's world, I know. Only $14 billion? Well, that's nothing. Yeah, it's something. Anyway, so say you wanted to cheat the fair tax. So you're going to sell goods without charging the sales tax. And we're just going to talk about goods now, because services is a little different. There's a possibility there could be a little black market in services, but there's a reason why that doesn't work real good either. And this is the same thing. Okay, if you're a legitimate business selling goods, you buy the goods for no tax. Because it's a business, you get the goods and the fair tax is not added in. That's also the same for the other things involved in running your business, say equipment, cleaning supplies. Whatever it takes to run your business is not taxed, because the business is not taxed. So you will not get charged the fair tax for those things. Now, if you have, say, a restaurant like me, and you go buy a 60-inch TV, and then you get audited, and the tax man comes to the door, and he walks around your restaurant, and he doesn't see a 60-inch TV, he's going to say, hey, let's take a trip to your house. And if you got the 60-inch TV on the wall in your house, then you're going to be on the hook not only for the fair tax, but also for cheating it. Because you said that was for your business, and it's at your house. And you're watching, well, you're not watching NFL, because you're just not watching the NFL anymore. Okay, so if you're legitimate, you're going to not take the chance of getting caught doing that sort of thing. So you're going to sell legitimately. You're going to add the fair tax in to the price, and then that will be the retail price. It will be your price plus the fair tax, and that's what will show on the sticker. In other words, you won't look at the sticker and then go to the cash register and they add the fair tax on like they do at most sales taxes. This is called an inclusive tax. It's included in the retail price. You will not want to cheat that, because the penalties are going to be very severe. Well, say you do want to cheat it. Say you want to cheat it. So what are you going to sell? Let's say you're going to sell, I don't know, pick something. DVD players. Okay, where are you going to get them? Because if you just buy them somewhere and you don't have a resale number as a legitimate business, you're going to pay the fair tax on them, and then you're going to go try to sell them without the fair tax. How are you going to make money like that? You can't. See, because you will not be able to sell them cheap enough to make taking that chance worthwhile. So that's going to be hard. Now, there are some places where there will probably be a little bit of cheating. And the easiest one I could think of is like a farmer's market. Because there, hey, the product is grown and provided by the seller directly. So he's not having to buy it. But if you have to buy the product you're going to sell, then you're either going to have a business license and a resale number so you can get it without paying the fair tax, or you're going to have to pay the fair tax. Now, we just talked about paying the fair tax and then selling it. That's ridiculous. That would be stupid. There would be no gain to it. So you're going to say, well, I'm going to get a business and I'll buy this stuff, and then over here on the side, I'm going to sell it without charging the fair tax. Except for then, because you're a business, because you have that resale license, this taxing agency is going to be watching. And when you don't send in a deposit for the fair tax, they're going to come and say, dude, you bought all this stuff, you're not paying the fair tax, this is bad, you're going down. And like I say, the penalties will be severe for that. Okay, so if you have a farmer's market, though, and you say, well, I'm going to grow all this stuff myself, and then it doesn't matter if I get the fair tax or anything like that. Well, it kind of depends on the size of your operation. If you've got an operation where you can do it with a 50-cent pack of seeds and a hoe, more power to you, you know. But that's not the reality of this. You're going to buy seeds, growing stock, fertilizer, you got to pay for water, all these different things, these expenses you have. If your operation is large enough, you might have a small tractor. You got greenhouses. Well, if you had that business license and that resale, and it's not even a resale, it's more of an exemption, tax exemption, because resale is just for stuff you're going to sell. Business taxes, the fact that you're not taxed on business means that you can also get your equipment without paying the fair tax for your business. So your tractor, well, do you want to pay the tax on the tractor when, in fact, if you're going to operate legitimately as a business, then you can get it without paying the tax? All those things you need to run the business can be bought without paying the tax if you're a legitimate business. But again, if you're a legitimate business, you better be making your deposits. So it's going to be really hard to do an actual black market. Now somebody said, well, they have a black market on cigarettes and alcohol. That's true. But understand, those items are taxed for a different reason, and there's a different enforcement body. Now you're talking alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and something else. I don't know, explosives or whatever. Whatever they changed it, they added something. I don't even remember what it is. But the point is, that's a whole different thing. And because those are, I hesitate to actually call them vices, but I think that's the way they term it. Because those are vices, they're kind of in a different class than, I don't know, food, end tables, DVD players, flat screen TVs, stuff like that. So they're not looked at in the same way. But it is very hard to cheat. For one thing, you need two people to cheat it. You need the seller and you need the buyer. And that is, if you have that, that's two people. That's conspiracy. If you've ever heard of the RICO Act, that's basically racketeering. That's when more than one person gets together, has a conspiracy, they collude to do bad stuff. So you could conceivably get charged under the RICO Act, which has some very, very strict penalties. Stiff penalties, I should say. So, the thought of a big black market showing up of a significant size is pretty small, because that's what they're going to look for. That, I mean, it's going to be, because it's going to be such a big temptation, those agencies are going to be very, very vigilant, especially in the early stages of this, because people won't realize how bad the penalties are and how hard it is to actually pull it off. So people may try it, but the likelihood is they're going to be caught, and pretty soon that disincentive of, hey, you got 5 years in prison, is going to stop that. And so the whole, I don't know, red herring, whatever you call it, that the fair tax would cause huge black market commerce, it's not going to happen. So it's really a non-issue. Thanks for listening, and I'll get a new video up as soon as I can. Thank you. Bye-bye.